It's a little early for the eggs, but I thought I'd just check in case. The garden's ready for planting whenever we get the plants started and ready to go. Both gardens have been weeded. This is curly dock that's growing out here. If you know anything about the curly dock, then you know that it's good medicine. The docks are good. It grows on the outside of the garden. Change out the water bottles. We rotate them to keep them clean. They love an apple treat. I don't have an apple treat out here today right now. I will bring them something later. Just want to make sure that they've got plenty of clean water and plenty of food. I may let the kids bring them a treat. The bottles get kind of green because they eat the compacted greens in their pellet food, and it backwashes into the bottle. And then you got to get in here and just clean them like you would any other bottle. This little piece right here has 5 pieces to it. Has a ball bearing in the end, a little filter, and then there's a little thing between the ball bearing, the little red filter, and a black washer. So there's five parts to that. You want to go ahead and clean them while they're wet, because if you let that dry out, then it's just even worse. So I'll have to brush and clean that out. I'm just going to have an English black tea this morning. And my spring cup. I brought my tea outside. It's such a beautiful day. I just don't want to miss the morning. I'm just going to sit back here and have this tea and go through my seeds. I had a few things to share with you. These are just my new seeds that I bought this year. Let's see if I can get them out of this case. This is a fishnet recycled container right here. I'm not going to use a fishnet in my garden. I'm just using this neat little container. These are these hold down some things. These are some little plant stakes that I made from Clorox bottles. If you hadn't saw that, you can make your plant stakes from Clorox bottles. When I have another empty container, Clorox bottle container, I'll show you how to make these if you don't already know. Now, I don't care if you use this idea. I'm sharing this idea for you to use. If you're a content creator and you use this idea, give a shout out to where you saw the idea at. Don't just take the idea without giving a shout out to the creator of it so that you have good YouTube manners. And these are some that was bought from Amazon. And you can see the difference in these. The main difference in these that I find is that they're just small. So if you're doing seedlings, the little small tab is good. You don't have to put a lot of information on them unless you have seedlings that need a lot of information. And then the ones that you make from the Clorox containers are much bigger, and you can put as much information as you want on them. You can make these as big as you need them to be. These are better for bigger plants. You can make them wide if you have certain kinds of squash. You can vary these because you're making them yourself. You can vary these to the size that you want them. And then the ones that you buy from some other place, sometimes they're big, sometimes they're not. There's all different kinds of plant markers. These are the two that I'm using this year, the ones that I made from the Clorox bottles to give a one-time use plastic another use. And then I bought some from Amazon just to put in seedlings because they were much smaller. And for marking other containers, I use these. I use these for seedlings too, depending on how big of a tray of them I'm making. Now, the kind of seeds that I picked out this year, I've got nasturtiums. Now, I have plenty of nasturtium seeds, but I went ahead and bought these because I'm going to pickle some, like I showed you that video of my brother-in-law who he raised a lot of nasturtiums. He kept the seeds, he kept some to grow, and then he kept some for pickling. He pickles these, and they were really good. They were much like capers. If you've ever had capers, those pickled nasturtium seeds were much like capers. So I bought these to grow more nasturtiums this year. Of course, I grow seeds from nasturtiums to when I raise those nasturtium flowers and leaves, I save them and dehydrate them, and I use those for an antibacterial menstruum. I mix them with a menstruum and I use them as antibiotics. So they have that great usefulness for them. So I picked up these nasturtiums just to add to the seeds that I already have, so that I'll be sure to have plenty, and I'll have plenty enough to grow all the nasturtiums I need for antibiotics, and I'll have plenty to be beautiful and plenty to save the seed from. So that's why I picked up a bigger pack. I also got these herbs. These 12 herb varieties. I ordered these from Amazon as a collection. Culinary herb seed collection. And so in these, we just have a packet of different seeds. I totaled it up. Buying this package was saved more money than if I had bought the seeds individually. And of course, I'm a budget-friendly channel, so I'm going to go that way if I can. So those are the seeds that I got. Borage, cilantro. My husband does not like cilantro, but I do. There's basil, thyme, rosemary, marjoram, sage, chives, oregano, parsley, savory, and dill. So those are the 12 that's in this seed collection, this culinary herb seed collection from Amazon. So I got that collection, and then I got this one, and it's from a different seed seller, but it's a collection. The E-SGS-HerbalistBundleCollection, and there are 8 different seeds in here. There's elecampane, which is excellent for lung health, mugwort, mullein, which I've saved some mullein seeds, but these just happen to be in this collection. Self-heal, St. John's wort, valerian, wormwood, burdock, and comfrey. I have a patch of comfrey, and I divided some of it up and moved it to a different area so that, you know, it wouldn't be just in one place. I didn't want to lose my comfrey patch. But here are some I can start from seeds. It's a hardy perennial herb valued for its medicinal properties and ability to improve soil fertility. Its lush leaves and purple flowers are also a beautiful addition to your garden, attracting pollinators and providing a natural mulch. Now, what I love about comfrey is we make the comfrey salve for healing, and we also, I mean, it's just a beautiful little, not little, it can be huge, but it's a compact plant that holds its form, and it is beautiful in your garden, in your herb garden. We've got a perennial herb garden that needs work this year. And then let's see what I got. Oh, this one is a tomato collection, and it's 10 different tomatoes. We love to grow tomatoes. It's one of our favorite things to grow, and it's from the Survival Garden Seeds also. So we got some different tomatoes. This one's a hillbilly tomato. I got a kick out of that, especially because I'm an Appalachian. Here are Cherokee purples. That's a long-time favorite. Love the flavor of Cherokee purples. There are, this is the Ace 55 VF. Don't know anything about this. Looking forward to see how that one tastes. Here's a beefsteak, one of Donald's favorite tomatoes. He likes it because it covers a sandwich. Here's a mortgage lifter. You'll just have to look up the history on a mortgage lifter. This is a prolific tomato. It's great to grow if you need a lot of tomatoes. I always plant mortgage lifters in my garden. Here are red brandywines. Look at the size of that. We always plant brandywines in our garden because Donald's grandmother loved them. She had 3 seeds that she planted. One was a red brandywine. One was a German Johnson. And then the other was like a little Tommy toe, which is what's coming up next. So she always had the little Tommy toes for snacking. And I've got these, of course, I've got saved Tommy toes from her collection, and they come back every year. Now this is my least favorite tomato. It's probably somebody else's very favorite tomato. It's the Roma, and it's a sauce tomato made for sauces. If you like to make tomato sauce, tomato paste, this is supposed to be the winner. Now, we have come to the conclusion that we eat our tomatoes much more as fresh eating than we do sauces. I do make tomato sauce, I do can tomatoes, and I just mix these in with my other tomatoes, but I would never want this to be my only tomato. That's just my opinion in my gardening. These are some little yellow pear tomatoes, and this is a tomato that stays green. Aunt Ruby's German green. Never grown this one before, so this is the surprise in the pack that I'll be able to see if I like that or not. Now there are a few tomatoes that I also grow that are in my huge pack of tomatoes. I've got a huge container that I save all of my seeds in, and those are the seeds that I grow from year to year. And I didn't drag those out yet because this is quite a bit to go through right here. I'm going to read on the backs here, and I'm going to figure out some of the things, especially where I'm going to grow what where this year. I like to change it up, especially with the tomatoes. I like to move them around a little bit, because if you grow things year after year in one spot, it can be really draining unless you're really good about adding compost and amendments to your soil that'll keep that growing. But still, it's just a good idea to rotate those around a little bit so that you're not making a place for a disease or anything like that to happen. Now there is one other, I think I'll show you that big thing of seeds when I pull that out and I decide what of that I'm going to plant. There's a lot in that container that I've saved from year to year from the things that I grow, and there's also a lot that is something that I grow every year, like the yellow crookneck squash, cucumbers, 2 different kinds of cucumbers, the pickling and the slicing. There's things that we grow in our garden every year in that container, and things that I've personally saved seeds from that I like to make sure that I save some seeds, especially the heirlooms, so that your whatever you save the seeds from and grow, they seem to do better when you get used to growing them in the same climate that they were harvested from last year. Your seeds seem to do better. That's what I've found. Thought I'd share that with you in case you want to save any of your heirloom seeds. Now you can't do it with GMO seeds, but you can with your heirloom seeds that you save. Now what I wanted to talk to you about next was, if you've ever saw a beautiful garden, you just saw a beautiful garden, and you go through the store and you think, oh my goodness, I want a garden like that. I want it to be lush and full. And look at this. I can buy this whole big bag of perennial wildflower mix, and I can just get all of these flowers in one shot. Look at that beautiful packaging. It shows you those beautiful flowers. And of course, you will have those flowers with time, with proper planning, time and patience if you use this bag. I'm not saying don't buy this bag. I'm just going to tell you some things about it. Now when you go in the store and you grab this beautiful bag of flowers and you think, oh my goodness, this is the garden I'm going to have this year, you won't have it in that one year. A lot of these perennials are biennials, and by biennials that means you're only going to get a little plant in the beginning, and it's going to take 2 years for these things to bloom. Doesn't tell you that on your package. You're going to have to do your research. You know, it just tells you every wildflower makes a difference. Wildflowers are a powerful force that helps sustain our environment. Research has shown that recent declines in pollinator populations may be attributed to, at least in part, the decline in native flower species commonly found in wildflower fields. Individual efforts to create more garden butterflies, birds, bats, and other pollinators can make a difference. Earth Science wildflower blends are beautiful, require very little maintenance, and are designed with pollinators in mind. And then it gives you the instructions on how to prepare the soil to plant and water these seeds. And they are 100% guaranteed. But this is the thing that makes the difference here. Now these seeds a lot of these seeds are biennial. Not all of them, but most of them are, which means you're just going to have a little plant the first year. You're not going to have these big, beautiful flowers the first year. Now this has, let me read the seeds to you if I can see them through this lens, and I can read them to you. It wants to focus on my hand and not on the thing, and I have to have my hand hold this open. Let me see what we got here. I'll give you some idea of these seeds, and you can look up each individual one of these. Seeds listed in order of predominance in this bag. It's 1.83% pure seed, so it's not, you can tell. These seeds are really small though, so you're still getting a lot of seeds for your money. You can see there it says lance-leaved coreopsis, blanket flower, sweet William pinks, purple coneflower, Illinois bundleflower, Siberian wildflower, purple prairie clover, blue flax, oxeye, and see, I can only see a portion of them because this has been rubbed off. But anyway, if you look up these individual seeds, you'll find that many of them do not bloom the first year that you plant them. So when you see this beautiful pack of seeds in the store, these perennials, which are usually more expensive than annuals, and you get excited thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to have this in my garden this year. I just wanted to let you know that you won't have it that year. That most of these will take at least a year to make a little plant, and then the next year it will grow bigger and bloom. It will bloom the second year. Biennials do. And then when you do get those seeds and you do get those plants going this year, and they're little green plants, next year they'll grow up and be bigger and prettier, but it takes a while to get this kind of bloom. And if you're expecting, you see this package and you're expecting it, they're putting it on the consumer to look up each one of these seeds and flowers and see how long it takes for these to grow and to bloom, whether it's a perennial or a biennial, which means it will bloom. Which a biennial can also be a perennial. So they're all perennials, evidently. We can see right here. But some of them are going to be biennials. And I didn't want you to get sidelined thinking that you can just buy this one big bag and have all of these without putting some time. It's going to take some time. Now, I still like to get these every once in a while and just find a little patch in the garden and plant them and just see what comes up, and then you got to leave it there for a couple of years so you can see how this thing grows. I don't have a lot of room on my in my little garden. If you've been around here, then you know we are in the Appalachians. We have a small lot and a house in a development in the lowlands, what's called the lowlands of the Appalachians to the people that live there. So I'm in the lowlands in a small town, and I don't have a whole lot of land to grow a lot on. Donald and I, we have about, I want to say maybe a quarter of an acre, a little over a quarter of an acre, in between a quarter and a third. So it's not a lot, it's not a big lot, but we have made the most of every inch of this lot, that is for sure. We have really, really used every inch of this lot. When I do my garden tours, you see that. We have a lot growing and a lot blooming. And a lot to take care of. And because we've been here for decades, we are, you know, pretty much got all that we're able to put on this lot. It's just now, it's an older garden. It requires a lot of labor. It is labor intensive because we have had it for so long. We have gained some things. We have lost some plants over the years. There are a few that's been here from the beginning. When we first bought the house, we planted and we still have them. But I try to share all of that with you in my garden tours about the plants when I show them to you, where I got them, how long we've had them, and how pleased we are or how much we dislike them. Now, I like pretty much everything that we've got on this lot. And we plant those little gardens. I showed you this morning the 2 little gardens that are ready to plant. Well, I've got to get the seeds started first. Now, we've had a fall summer. It warmed up here and there and things have bloomed out. And then it got really cold. It was like 30 degrees last night. So it's, I'm just hesitant to put anything out when it gets that cold, because I know what's going to happen to it if it gets down that cold. I have friends and they were telling me they were out there trying to cover up their fruit trees with sheets and everything, and they got up on the ladder and they got the sheets across there and got everything covered up, but it didn't make a bit of difference. Those blooms were bit back by the cold and they didn't have hardly any fruit, and that's what happens. That's what happens around here a lot. Lately especially, we've had a lot of false summers, and so things come out in bloom and then they get bit back. Which can be sad. It limits the amount of fruit that you get. Sometimes if you've got multiple trees, you know, 3 of them might get bit back and 1 might survive. I mean, you just never know. That's just how it works out. But we do try to get some harvest in one way or another from every plant that we've got on our little lot. Now, we plant some trees and some things for privacy. I'm just sitting here, so I'm just going to show you. These pine trees that have grown way up here, they were planted for privacy, to make a barrier between our house and the neighbor house that you see right here, because their driveway is really close. And that saves so much. If you've got neighbors that are not considerate of your property and they just pull wherever they want to, a tree barrier like that can be a lifesaver, and it has been for us over the years. We also planted these Leland cypress over here, and you can see these things have gotten really, really big. We planted these for privacy, and they have grown so high that Donald has to trim them now right here underneath so that we can see to get out of the driveway. So they have turned out to be beautiful trees. We enjoy those. And I could do a full tour up for you all day of trees that we've planted for different reasons. Privacy, to block certain things, you know. And that's what you do when you live close to other people. If you really that are just neighbors. What has happened in our community is that we have been here so long that so many of the original people have either moved, died, or sold their homes to people that rent houses. So there are rent houses. This one beside of us is a rent house, and there are ones in front and in back of us. And that rent houses are usually temporary. Nobody stays longer than maybe 3 or 4 years. and they're not committed to the neighborhood or the property like a long-term resident usually is. So it's changed the nature of our neighborhood some. It's still a good neighborhood. We're close to a lot of good things. It's been home for a long time, and so we're very satisfied to a point, as much as we can be here. Donald and I always saw ourselves buying something much bigger. You know, this was our starter home, and we thought we would get here and maybe live here 10 years and then move on and buy something bigger. Well, what's happened is, you know, our kids got involved in the neighborhood. They got involved in different things, their schools, and as they grew up and everything, we couldn't just pull them out of their schools and their neighborhood. So we stayed here as they grew, and they all are grown and have left. They have children and homes of their own, and so that is no longer the issue. The issue is they all live within 5 miles of us. Yeah, maybe a little more, but right around 5 miles. They've all bought homes. My daughter, she is over the bridge. My son is in the next little town up, which is just right up the road. And then our other son, he is very close. He likes where he lives for right now. And so, and then I watch our grandchildren. So our grandchildren are very important to us, our family and our lifestyle. We are Appalachians, and our family means a lot to us. So I wanted to be the one to give the daycare, and however long, whenever they need me, I wanted to be the one to care for my grandchildren because I love them so dearly. I'm very close to them. They love Grammy, they love Grampy, and they love Grammy's sweet house. That's what my oldest granddaughter has always called Grammy's house. She has autism and Down syndrome, and she loves Grammy's sweet house. So now she has been here all of her life, coming here for Grammy to take care of her. She's 14 years old, and she is just growing to a beautiful teenager, and she is still coming to Grammy's house. I bet you she could tell you how to get here from her house. If it became an issue, she could tell you how to get to Grammy's house. I remember a few times I picked her up instead of her mom bringing her by. I would pick her up and we would head towards the store or something before we came home to Grammy's house, and she would cry because she wanted to go to Grammy's sweet house. And that's what she called it for years. She loves Grammy's house. And I say all that to say that once a house becomes a home, it's very hard to leave it behind. I did look probably at 100 houses or more, trying to get my husband to move, and the real estate agent looked at me and said, I don't think he wants to move. And then when we got home, I asked him that night, and I said, Donald, do you want to move? And he said, well, I don't think so. And I'm like, you're letting us look at 100 houses and you're not willing to move. You're not ready to move. So that is why we're still here. Even though it is slightly different than what we had planned in our future plan, we are still at this house after raising our 3 children and now in having our 6 grandchildren. And so we are home. This is home. It has been for a long time, and until God moves us to another house, this will be our home. And so we love it and try to take care of it and appreciate it as much as we possibly can. Now, I have Appalachian roots, and buddy, they are strong. There are, of course, Native American in those roots. There is Cherokee, and there's a lot of cultural gifts, I'll call them gifts, that have been handed down to us through that. And that's, we forage. I love herbs. Do a lot with herbs. Can't imagine living without them. Using them medicinally and to flavor food and to eat. on their own. I mean, it's just, you know, that is a part of my life, a big part of my life. My husband's too. Our children, while they love and appreciate that, they're really busy. They have careers, and they're really busy, so they don't grow and forage and do as much of that now in their life. They might when they get older, we'll see, but they do a lot of you know, they're just really on the go a lot, so they're not as much into the culture of the plants and everything as me and Donald are, but that's okay. That's their way. They've been taught some of it, they've grown up with some of it, so they'll remember it if they need that. Well, I thought I'd just talk to you a little bit about the seeds and about the garden, and just enjoy this morning out here with you before the grandkids get here, to take a minute to share a few things with you and talk with you. And I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad you stuck around for it. I always appreciate you being here. And I'm going to go in here and get some things going. I've got some things I've got to get started this morning. I'll try to include you when it comes to me starting the seeds. I might direct sow a lot this year, which means I won't have as many seed trays and things as I normally do. I may just go right ahead and direct sow them out there in the gardens where I want them, and that might save some time and energy and maybe some resources. We'll see how it all goes. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to spending the next video time with you, and like always, until next time,